Hello, everyone. My name is Buren. I'm a professional concept artist who's also a mentor in MAGES Institute Concept Art Program. I've worked in a studio called Pretty Simple, and I've also worked in an animation studio called Studio 4 Celsius. Today, we have a senior concept artist currently who's working in Ubisoft UK, whose name
Yeah.
is Raymond Tan. Hello, Raymond.
Hello.
Let me
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited and nervous at the same time. I think in a few minutes I'm gonna loosen up.
okay.
Yeah.
So Raymond here, who have worked on such games as Battlefront 2, Division 2, Star Wars Rebels, Street Fighter 5, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, Medal of Honor, Above and Beyond, Elder Scroll Legends, and many more. And he's also currently working on a comic book project called The Runts. So
Yeah.
tell us about yourself a little bit, Raymond.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Bern, for that. So I'm Raymond. I am working currently as a senior concept artist again here in Ubisoft UK. So I'm the artist and creative director for Modern Magic Stories, where we're doing comic books and short films. That's The Runts. That's the one that Bern has mentioned earlier. I am originally from the Philippines. I grew up in a small town in San Pablo City, Laguna. So when I was young, it's about an hour drive to Manila for anyone who's listening who doesn't know about my small town. And right now, I believe it's 4 hours because of traffic. So yeah, so that's me. And also, I'll be teaching in Mages, Singapore for the concept art program together with Buren. I'll be focusing mostly on narrative concept art and props design like mechs and vehicles. Basically, all the things that I've experienced in the industry. I've been in the industry for 10 years now, and I'll be one of the mentors there to teach the students all the things that I know, and hopefully will be beneficial to their journey. Yeah.
Hmm. So Raymond, how many years of experience are you bringing to the students?
10 years.
Hmm.
Hopefully I could, share what I've gathered for then. Yeah.
Hmm. That's very nice. So I have a question for you. What made you an artist?
Well, it's my interest of being an artist started way back. I remember my dad drew something on just scribbled something on paper, and it captivated me. I felt like there's something magical when you're translating whatever you're imagining, like in your head, to your paper, to the paper of whatever it is that in front of you. And when I was young, I just kept drawing like every afternoon, whatever I see in TV, like say anime. When I saw Dragon Ball for the first time, and also do you remember the days when Super Nintendo, SNES, and Sega were the thing? So old times. Yeah, so I somewhat, for a reason, wanted to redraw them on my style. And I wasn't really good at copying though, because back when I was young, most of the people I know who draws, they just copy things. To me, I just want to have my own spin with it. So yeah, so and when you're young, I think you always cling on to something you believe that you're good at, whatever it is. Like if friends tell you you're good at it, or whatever, parents, your peers. So that's the time I felt like I wasn't a loser because I know how to do something. And I remember very young, I was about to join a contest. It's an art contest. I think all of us have been there. And then, my mom instilled to me the idea of work ethic very young, like work ethic and practice. Because at first I thought that this drawing or being an artist is a gift, and you don't have to work for it. Obviously, I'm terribly wrong. And I thought that talent is somewhat handed to you, right?
Hmm.
But, so my mom bought me these stacks of like bond paper and sketch pad and few coloring materials. And she said, you have to practice for a contest. That's about a week or so. And I wasn't really a prodigy or whatever, but I'm just another kid who's just lost in this world of colors and imagination bubble. I'm pretty sure it's same as you, right? When you're
Yeah.
journeying as a kid, as an artist. Yeah, so yeah, it's just doing some silly scribbles at the back of my test papers, and some teachers commended me for it, some cursed me for it,
Hmm.
but I just love drawing and with no aim or goal. But
Mm.
then I think the turning point started when my dad bought me a comic book, and I saw like amazing draftsmanship, right? Like my mind was blown by. Are you familiar with Jim Lee?
Of course.
Yeah. So remember, like back in the '90s, about X-Men and all these things.
Yeah, they had
F-
Wildstorm style was taken over.
yeah,
Yeah.
those times, right? So Wildstorm, X-Men, and then I think Image is still starting that
Yep.
time. And so Frank Miller, Laney Liu, and Jerry Allen Gill, and these artists, it it has become this like eye opener in art. So when I saw those like comic books, that became my focus of the focus of my young life, I should say. And I buy comics for art's sake, not reading. And
Mm.
then even in high school, I remember as a freshman, all I tried to do is practice, and hopefully I could be as good as those guys, you know. But then my interest shifted in athletics for some reason. It's
Mm.
weird, yeah.
How did that come about?
I it's just I totally abandoned art since I was 14, and I don't know, it's just something clicked with me. And up to 22, I believe I didn't draw because at that time when I was in high school, I really wanted to become a basketball player, and but that experience is pivotal in my development as an artist. That's when I really understood the concept of discipline, like fundamentals, understanding fundamentals. The fire of competition, the pressure. Because when I walked in these things, even up to now, we carry those things when we're doing a job, right? You have to understand the fundamentals, and also we all know that in our field the competition is quite hefty.
It's a very delicate balancing act.
Yeah, that's true. It's a delicate balancing act, and also there's pressure. Pressure is always involved. We have deadlines and all these things. So back when I was young, when I walk into the gym for tryouts or training, I that's when I understood that I know when I really want something, I have to work extremely hard. So although I didn't make a mark in it, in basketball, I think as a lanky and awkward player in high school, I've improved a lot and competed in organized leagues where I've been head to head with like, ex cagers and pro players.
Mm.
That might not be success in the eyes of many, but to me, it opened my eyes that through consistency of practice and discipline, you can develop a skill and be proficient at it. Do you do
Mm.
you, do you believe in the same thing as well
Of
in
course,
art?
it's not just art. It's anybody who wants to be professional at anything needs to understand it's not doing it. It's everything. It's social skills. It's discipline. It's how to keep trust. It's also how to keep a portfolio of history on yourself, and it's just a lot of things. So let's ask you another question I had about relating to this. So after
Yeah,
all
yeah.
this, when did you become uh, you know taken over by the idea that you want to become a concept artist as a profession after going through
Oh
all
yeah,
this?
yeah. It's a good thing you led up to that. I'm kind of lost in just talking,
That's okay,
but
man.
yeah. So I kept trying to reach that dream, right?
Hmm.
No matter how stupid it may appeal. And then I got injured. I was in London doing groceries, and my foot just clicked like that.
What year was this?
This was 2011, I
Okay.
believe. Yeah. I was 22, 21.
Hmm.
So this was like 11 or 12 years ago. And then,
Hmm.
so I started limping. It's so painful that, I went back home to the Philippines and did a rehab for my foot. And I was so depressed because at that time, all my friends are doing well. They're having a steady day job. At least in my mind, they're pretty sure of themselves of where to go. And here I am, a a dream chaser with my foot being rehabilitated. So, and then that thing kind of reminded me that hey, I used to draw, and maybe I could do that. And then all these things just suddenly blazed upon me that hey, I was laser focused because I have this idea that to draw and practice like your life's depending on it, because it
Mhm.
really does. Because if I didn't do a change, I'd rather be pigeonholed in a day job that I don't like, and I think it's gonna suck worse than where I was. So all the things I've learned in my pursuit of basketball, like I'm very disciplined then, because I know that there's no talent in me, and I apply it with consistency. So like when I was pursuing that as an artist, I think after a year or two of like just hammering it down and working hard in my parents' house, my first gig in video games came in, and I was a
Hmm.
working artist at 23. So yeah, that thing started.
I
Yeah.
see. So you had really difficult circumstances that funneled you into this path, I would say. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was listening heavily to Eminem though,
So
just to
okay,
me to get motivated.
from that time, you've worked a lot of works, 10-year experience, and now you're currently a senior concept artist in Ubisoft UK. So what was your journey before? I mean, from that decision of focusing hard until now,
Mm,
like what was your journey? What kind of jobs did you have? What was there any hardships? Was there any and how did it all keep going with your experience of discipline and everything?
yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. I think we can start for like the first interest in concept art, because that's where I am right now.
Hmm.
And my interest really came from the notion that concept art is problem solving in the language of art.
Hmm.
Your job is to create worlds, characters, props with the principle of its usefulness for production. And what's good in our job is that you're not just drawing, but your general knowledge should be as important as your art skill.
Hmm.
Because almost when I was still drawing, I remember that almost any artist with a skill set of painting or drawing could do fantastic artwork, right? Anyone who has that skill, but not everyone can design and use their understanding in science, architecture, mechanics. Like, I love documentaries and traveling, and I
Hmm.
think it goes hand in hand with what we do. And also, my journey started because I'm very curious of what's going to happen in this industry, right? Because my career started in very small. I started my career in comic books, right? Doing very low paying jobs, and then I moved to doing game assets, like 2D art for this game called Gangs of Dystopia. I remember I was really overwhelmed because, hey, I'm really be contributing and making games, because before I was just playing PlayStation games, and right now I'm working on these games. And after doing that for a couple of times, I just put my portfolio online in DeviantArt. Remember those days?
Everybody started at DeviantArt.
Yeah, in DeviantArt. And then I got hired by this studio in Singapore. Now this is my first studio experience in Singapore.
What year was this?
This was 2012, I think,
Great.
or 2011, around there.
Hmm.
You've been to Singapore, right? It's an
Yeah, yeah,
amazing city.
yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. So it's a game studio called Newbie, and we shipped these mobile games back then. It was when the studio was still in operation. So my first position in the in-house experience would be a game artist. So for those who don't know, I was doing casual games, meaning those cute stuff like Candy Crush and Clash of Clans.
Hmm.
If you're going to be a game artist, most of the time you'll be tackling like UI, also game assets, like drawing all these objects that's in the game.
Hmm.
And although I was working in this stylized casual game, um, I was very fortunate to have an opportunity to work on somewhat a realistic game, because at that time they have two games that's being developed in the studio. I was part of the casual game, and there was this realistic game called Monster Blade. Now this is like the birthplace of concept art, perhaps in my experience. Like because I was just thinking then that, hey, I'll be doing this like game artist stuff, but I don't know about concept art that much. And then I got into the project because my lead saw my comic book work, and then he saw that I could do, I have good line work because I'm a trained draftsman, And then he said, oh, we would be needing a few bits of texturing because they're doing these things in 3D. So for those who don't know, a 3D model, it should have textures. And so that's my job. And so when I moved to that project, that realistic project, so I'm drawing like line art, no digital painting yet, just line art and texturing.
Hmm.
My digital painting experience came from texturing. At first, I really hated it. Like, I don't want to do it because, what I really want to do is just do line drawing. And then my lead, put me aside and gave me a very, I guess, a very important lesson. And he said that to me, like, hey, every opportunity that you can learn from something, don't shy away from it, because who knows how you can use that in the future.
Definitely.
Right? And yeah, and rightly so. Because of like doing those texturing and moving away from my comfort zone, I've picked up digital painting in no time. So because I don't have any formal training, so my training came from
Working.
from working, for, let's just say, experiential learning. So from my seniors, who I mimic through their feedback and weekends of practice and all these things. And most of the people who I am in the studio with are graduates from amazing schools like FZD, DigiPen, 3D Sense, and their foundation is really good. So I try to learn as much from them. And after that studio experience, so I'm keep on practicing all these things, like watching Noman videos, Feng Zhu, Scott Robertson. I moved back to the UK. So I'm just working on my portfolio, and it was really tough because it took me about 2 to 3 years before I got a decent job.
Yeah,
and,
that does happen.
Yeah, it's pretty true. I've got like many rejections, like tons and tons of rejection letters. I even took a part-time job of bussing tables and cleaning toilets in order for me to work for just 3 hours to pay for my rent and food. And then I worked for another 6 to 9 hours to finish my portfolio. So art test after art test, I failed, but I'm always keen on asking feedback for those studios who rejected me. And I think those are valuable advices because these are people who's really in the industry. So I think even up to now, if you're looking for teachers or whatever who's going to give you advice, reach out for someone who you think you would, let's just say, learn from, and with practicality and relevance, right? So after that, the time to learn was not accessible similar today, right? Because right now you can go to pretty much in YouTube and you can pick it up.
Yeah, Gumroad everywhere, but back in the days it wasn't that easy.
Yeah, it's very difficult to find. Even mentors are very difficult to find back then.
Yeah.
So I have to hit walls and pitfalls. So maybe that's why it took longer. And then, after working hard and, moving on to like different conventions, one director saw my work and then he gave me a steady job in games and films. So that's like my first break. And so thankfully I left that awful job of bussing tables and cleaning toilets. And one thing led to another. And there was this big studio in Malaysia. It's an outsourcing company called Streamline Studios. So that's my first gig working on AAA games. My first work would be Street Fighter V, and also led on working with Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Killer Instinct, and all those things. There, I was also doing texture work, about half and half, sometimes game assets and sometimes concept art. Although I'm still working there, I'm still connected with my art director from Europe, who's giving me games and films job. And he kind of gave me the idea to learn 3D and photo bashing, because he said that these are the current tools that will make you relevant in the industry. So I was doing that at nights while I'm still working on a studio job. And later I moved on to a different studio. It's called Virtuous. I think it's one of the largest studio in the world, I guess. Have you heard of them, Virtuous?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I see them on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah, I think they're very present and prominent there. So both of those companies are outsourcing studios, and these are third-party studios that's hired by developers, for those who don't know. Now, when I got in there, so the pressure is a little bit higher because I was hired as a lead concept artist,
Hmm.
and I just realized that in outsourcing, this is where a hardcore generalist would be suitable in terms of your efficiency. It will be an advantage because you're dealing with multiple projects, right?
Hmm.
Right. Do you have like friends who's been in the outsourcing, or did they tell you similar stories?
Yeah, it's you never know what will be tossed at your way, and
Yeah.
you just got to be ready. It's your job, and
Yeah.
first of all, you're paid as a generalist to be in an outsourcing studio, and you can't say like, "Oh, I can only do hair." Then that's a bye bye, you know. So that's why
Yeah, that's
like
true.
anybody who works in a outsourcing generalist type work,
Yeah.
it's generally, I would say it's really tough. But
Yeah.
but in that sense, that person will improve just as faster and better because
That
most people learn really good under pressure. Honestly.
that's true. Yeah. I agree. Also because of your stories that you've mentioned to me as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I was just fortunate that my art director there, Nico, who's I one of my mentors, mentored me very good in terms of using technology and maximizing its potential. Also, as a lead concept artist there, I taught. That's like my first stint in teaching.
Hmm.
All the things that that I've that I'm going to be sharing with Mages are prior from the experience that I've encountered back when I was in Virtus. Because when I joined the team is still young, and we're ramping up. And so me and Nico, we're both sharing the skill set of what we know to the entire team. And fortunately, the team grew and we bagged cool projects. So when I was working there, we worked on Star Wars, Battlefront, Medal of Honor, Elder Scrolls, and all those things. So yeah, again, so just just for a circuitous route, all these things that I've learned kind of encapsulated in that experience. Now here I am in Ubisoft. So yeah.
So when you got the Ubisoft job, did you prepare a portfolio or any art tests for it? Because all these years of working might have helped a little bit if you ever had to do that in any way.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, what's nice in our industry is that portfolio is everything, right?
I know. No
Yeah,
diplomas, just
yeah, yeah,
portfolio.
yeah, yeah. That's true. Although I think a school will give you an overview and foundation,
Hmm.
but I think portfolio is key, right?
Yeah.
Just for you to get your foot in the door.
Hmm.
Yeah. So Ubisoft is a developer studio, and I left Virtus because I wasn't directly hired by Ubisoft. I was working on a film back then,
Hmm.
and then when I was working on a film, I got contacted with Ubisoft. So Ubisoft, for those who don't know, is a developer. They develop games, they make games. So I think it's just lucky that my portfolio is tailored towards what they're doing. In the film that I was making and the stuff that I was working on before is similar to The Division 2.
Hmm.
And apparently, I didn't know that they're working on The Division 2. I thought it was just still Division 1 is still ongoing. I didn't know. I just got lucky. And I think uh, the key thing that I've realized there is that whatever it is in your portfolio, it should be when the art director sees it, or the lead, when they see your portfolio, it should dictate something as if, hey, this guy could be useful in our pipeline. you know you're not your job is not just to submit stuff that for you to showcase your ability. It's for you to see, it's for them to see if your project could, sorry, your abilities could push potential that, hey, this could be helpful in production.
Hmm.
So I think that's the thing. And I made an art test. I did an art test, and then yeah, fortunately I got hired, and here I am
Hmm.
working on Ubisoft. So there we go.
That's great. So with all that in mentioning,
Yeah.
bringing all your experience and all you've learned and all you've done, what will you be mainly teaching or being focused in the Mages program, Mages Institute Concept Art program currently?
Right. Yeah. Well, most of the things that I'll be tackling as a mentor would be what I've learned and what I feel would be effective right now in our industry. So I'll be focusing on narrative concept design because I've been involved in the cinematics department as well, providing concept art. I'm also going to teach uh, props design, vehicles, and mech because I've had like prior experience there as well, and also the principles of doing environment art and concept art. How would you tailor, like how would you approach it in a concept art mindset in, let's say, AAA production pipeline or in the film pipeline, so that once the student is out and done with the program, you know, it will be some kind of like a, you know, a dry run of what's going to happen once you're done with it. So, and hopefully our students will not just be there to learn, but it will be somewhat an experiential learning for you to do concept art, right?
Yeah.
So it's not I guess it's not watered down, I should say.
And
Yeah.
not only that, you'll be making friends, future connections, people who
Yeah, that's
might
true.
end up working together somewhere. You never know, right?
That's true. And
So,
also dude, what's nice that I'm pretty sure you can attest to this as well.
mm,
There are many questions that the student would ask, and us as professionals, if we could share to them like the experience that we have, how we could tackle this one better, it would just further propel whatever the goal that they want to go, right? It would just further, you know, help them. Yeah.
so I would definitely recommend that having any mentorship is very good for saving time, saving mistakes, and
Yeah.
because you can be self-taught all you want, but usually you never know what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and that's where we mentors come in.
Yeah.
Mm.
How was your experience when you were a student, and what are the hurdles that you've experienced, especially in learning?
For me, I had no clue about first read, for example. You know, I had no clue about how images read from distance and how close it is. I had no clue about how certain shapes read. Nothing, no clue about tangents, for example. You know, and
Yeah.
there's nobody in my family or my peers to tell me this stuff. And I would always make some drawings and show it to my friends, and I wouldn't get the same likes or thumbs up as I hoped, because sometimes my friends would tell me, "Hey, Buren, like when I look at your painting, it's good, but there's just something a little bit off. I don't know why, right?" And
Mm.
but then when I show it to a professional, they'll definitely say, "Oh yeah, man, your perspective's off, your proportions are off, your ergonomics are off, the lighting's not correct, this and that."
Yeah.
It's not because they're being mean; it's just because they're trying to just make it
Help you
better
out.
as much as that. And we already have 500 years of experience since the Renaissance times all the way till now to produce extremely realistic paintings and such. And we have to respect that knowledge.
Yeah. Like even up to now, like I'm a senior concept artist, and but then I always listen to my art directors and whoever it is that's who has prior experience. Even in my like juniors or intermediate, I try to listen to whatever they're gonna say, because like especially if you're talking to someone who's tenured and experienced, right? Whatever they're giving you for in terms of feedback, even if it's just 5-10 minutes feedback, dude, that's just those are
30
your
years condensed into
yes,
5 minutes in
yeah,
a
yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, not
So
30 years, but at least 5 to 10 years in our case,
yeah,
right?
so they're giving you this like I guess all the learnings that they have in just a short time,
Yeah.
and those are valuable advices that even sometimes I even take notes from what they're saying. And yeah, luckily I think that's the school that I've experienced in.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. It's teaching is also good because I've experienced. I just your workshop is gonna come up pretty soon, right?
Yes.
Yeah. In the workshop that I did back in January 16th, I've learned a lot because I have to relearn some things, and
Of
also
course.
yeah, also you have to articulate properly so that
Yeah.
they would be able to clearly understand what you're talking about.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's a new experience as well. And also what I really like about this is that we'd be tackling things that currently relevant in the industry. So if the program would take about a year to finish, I know a year would make a difference, but yeah, the things that they would learn, it's still applicable. You know what I mean? Yeah, because I don't want to give them something that's like, say, yeah, because I've experienced this, because I've been mentoring students as well. I've experienced stories from my students who's telling me that they're being mentored by this guy who never has worked in the industry. So that's like I think it's disingenuous for them, correct? Yeah. So yeah, man. Yeah. So that's the thing. How about you? What's the focus that you're going to teach in Mages?
I'll be mostly focusing on fundamentals and how to start thinking, how to systematically approach things, like the very foundations of creating concept art. It's not just all drawing, right? It's also about how to think, how to organize your mind, how to organize your files, how to respect the pipeline, because you may think you're the only concept artist, but usually concept artists do work for other people, like the 3D people, the environment people, the writers, the production designers. It's really crazy. So you got to understand, as a concept artist, you're sitting right in the middle of the production. It's really important, and that's where my teaching will be mostly focusing on. How to be careful about these things as the fundamentals, because if you know that early on, even when you make portfolios, you will not be just doing it for yourself. You'll be mindful about showing it to other art directors, showing it to other senior artists, and I hope that will help you have more chance in finding the job you dreamed of. And
I think
mostly industry insider things. I mean, at least from my experience, definitely.
That's very good, because I'm always keen on, when you're going to impart something to them that you've learned along the way, and obviously where you are right now, it worked. I think it will be effective on their part as well when they're developing their skill. I think that's not blind guidance, so to speak, right?
Yeah. So, Raymond, I guess that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for.
Hey, thanks, man. This has been amazing. Thanks, man, for doing this. Let's do this again.
Yeah, don't worry, definitely. And I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Make sure to check out Raymond's websites and his artwork. And if you want more similar content, please make sure to like and subscribe and follow our channel. And we will meet again.